Hey guys, this is the game engine I'm working on right now, and today I'm going to talk about how I added a fancy text system to it that you can add effects to the text and make the text clickable and change the colors on the text and a bunch of stuff like that. So I normally make pixel art games, and I wanted a system that worked well with that, so you could like change the color on the text or insert like pictures and like smiley faces and stuff into the text and make like the text jiggly and wavy and give it personality and stuff like that. So the two things I thought of first were adding color and images into the text. So the way I plan to do this was that when you pass over a string to be rendered by a text system, so maybe your string is hello world and you want that to be rendered on the screen, then if I wanted maybe the word world to be blue, then I could type hello and then I could put a command which would have a start sequence, which I just defined as being this, and then I could say color equals blue, and then I could put world, and then maybe I could put another command that would change the color back to whatever it was before if I wanted to add more stuff. So I passed that over to the text, and it would just render the words hello and world, but world would end up being blue. So this system is fine, but the problem with only having image and color commands is that it wouldn't be very flexible, so I might have to rewrite the engine again if I figured out there's more stuff I want to do. And I already know that I want to make the text jiggly and wavy and give it personality and stuff like that. And this system doesn't really support that, and there's not really a way to hard code all of those different effects into these commands. So the solution I came up with is based on a handful of commands, but they're more basic commands, and you have to do a little bit of light coding to get it to do what you want, but you can pretty much do anything now. You can highlight text, make it clickable, add sparkly effects, whatever you want. So how the system works is there's three main commands. There's gap commands, track, and subtext. So if you want to insert an image, you can have some hello world text, and you can put a gap, you can track that gap, so you can track these 2 points, and you can put an image between them. So you'll render the text, you'll ask the text where that gap that you put in it was, that you defined in the text, and then you'll just slap an image on top. You can put a button too. The other one isn't track or gap is subtext. So say I have some more text, another hello world thing, then the main text object you can imagine as being an empty object that is the correct width and height to fit all of the text inside of it. And then the subtext are where the text actually is. So they're the same width and height, and normally everything is put in the same subtext, but if I tell it to, I can, for example, put world in another subtext. So if I want to make world colored, I can put in another subtext. I can put hello over here. That would be touching the left, by the way. So when I slap them on top of each other, when I slap the two subtexts on top of each other, then it'll just make the original text. But the thing now is that they're separated into separate objects, so I can now color the objects, or I can apply a shader, so I can make world blue, or I can make one of these things jiggly or something like that. So basically these three commands can be combined to do anything. So if I want to highlight some text, I can track the points where I want to start highlighting it and where I want to finish highlighting it. And then I'll just render a transparent yellow texture over every line that I want to highlight. So you can imagine that this is a square texture, that's a square texture, that's a square texture, and I just have three textures that I can use to highlight it. Or if I want to make the text clickable, then I can just track it and put it on another subtext. so that I can, whenever the mouse is hovering over it, which I know because I've tracked it, then I can change the color of the subtext so that the player knows you're hovering over it, and whenever you click on it, I can do something. So pretty much with this system, you can do anything. So here's my text system, and the first thing I do is I split the string into different pieces. So I split it into commands, spaces, and words and stuff like that. So here's how I parse a word. Here's how I parse a space. So after a lot more work, I got text rendering and wrapping work. So if a word is too long, we'll just go to the next line. Gap commands work. A new line just forces it to go to the next line. And then I put something on a subtext and colored the subtext blue, so I got a blue colored piece of text. And all the text is on one mesh, so it's really easy to rotate text now, which I couldn't do in my previous games. And then here I am trying to figure out how to put an image between these two pluses right here by tracking them and putting a gap between them like I talked about before. Didn't quite work the first time. Eventually I did get it working, so you can see it's between the two pluses right there. And at this point, everything is working. So I got gap, track, and subtext commands working. As you can see, I'm tracking and using a gap for the image, and then the color is the subtext. Also got wrapping working, you can see at the top. And then another thing is that all the lines are parallel. You probably can't tell that here, but the right edge is straight and the left edge is also straight. I haven't seen a lot of games do that, but I saw books do it and I thought it looked better, so I just did it. And how I do that is I scale the spaces, so you probably can't see it here, but the spaces on some lines are smaller than others, so that all the lines pretty much line up and everything's parallel like that. And then you can also rotate the text and everything still works. I also made the image there, that blue image that I talked about before. It is a child of the text so that it rotates with everything else. So all the basics are working at this point. So now that everything was working, I wanted to show off some of the things that my system could do. So I decided to make a text museum that I'd planned to put in some of the different effects that I talked about you could do with the system in the beginning of the video. So I decided to make clickable text first, so I was gonna make text you can navigate through the museum with. You could go to the previous exhibit or you could go to the next one. So here's the code for that, and then here is what it looks like. So at the bottom you can see that I'm hovering over some actual text, which I did the same way I talked about at the beginning. I just tracked it and then colored it on a new subtext. And then I can also click on it there. And then I just copied it and changed, I just copied it and changed it to be for the second piece of text, so that I could also have a clickable next button, which you can see here. And then I'm hovering over it, everything works, and I can click on it just like before. And so that's the text museum pretty much set up. So now I wanted to show off some effects. So the first effect I did was a rainbow effect. So I chose some colors for that, and then I had rainbow text working. And then I wanted to do some wavy text, so I made some new shaders for that. I set the shader for one of my subtexts. I added some new code to get multiple shaders working, and then I had that, but the text wasn't quite working right, so I did some work on that, changed it up a bit, and eventually I got it like this, which is how it stayed. So that's wavy text. It's also easy to make multiple text wavy. You can just put it on the same subtext and then you can do stuff like that. And then also it's really easy to change effects, so I can just comment out one line right there that sets the effect, and then the effect will be gone. And then I can put the line back and the effect will be back. So that shows how easy it is to do effects. And then for fun, I also decided to make the clickable text from earlier wavy when you hover over it. So here that is working. So that's wavy text. So that's my whole text system and how I made it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like the video if you want to. And now you can listen to me type for the rest of the video.